Howdy, folks. I'm Mark, and today I am joined by Matt Intemann. Matt, thank you for joining me for this short talk about video games.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Welcome back. It's been a while, so I'm glad to have you back here. But all of you out there, you're listening to Quick Play, so let's get right into it. So since video games have really, became a video part of that, they used to be text-based computer games, and then now you need a field of vision. So we're talking about camera perspectives in video games and some of our favorites, some unique cases, but broadly there's first person and there's third person, and that's kind of about it. But also you dig down deeper and you've got side scrollers, you've got top down, you got isometric, got some over the shoulder action, all of those different ways to look at your games and the ways that they let you see what's happening. But Matt, what is a good camera in a video game to you? Like, what should a good camera be or do?
I mean, I definitely think it needs to serve the gameplay, and the camera angle needs to match, what you're doing. I was thinking a lot about this today, and I think it's immersion is what it does. Like a first person view can immerse you, but even like in a third person view, you kind of fade to the background and you can get sucked into the scene that you're watching. I think the first time I ever really thought about the camera as, a piece of game design in itself was in Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
When I sent you that Easter egg where it's Lakitu holding the little camera and you see him in the mirror room in Peach's castle. That almost I guess it is breaking the fourth wall, but I was like, oh, I'm a little camera guy that's following around Mario. And I just remember that making an impression on me when I was a kid that I am the observer in this situation.
Yeah. I don't know if this is an urban legend, but they designed Lakitu as the camera guy with you're controlling him with the C button. So otherwise people be confused. So we need to have this mental anchor to you are controlling the camera by controlling the guy holding the camera. And it ended up being a pretty bad camera anyway, but it's gotten better over time.
You don't want to give someone an existential crisis just thinking they're a disembodied spirit floating around, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Having an out of body experience. We got to have more of a way to make sense to all the kiddos out there.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear more about what you think with serving the gameplay and immersion, because when I was thinking about it, the best cameras are the ones you don't think about, where it's if it's unobtrusive, I'm making the joke about Mario 64 having a bad camera. That's what everyone likes to call it out for. And it's because it does get in the way. And it's why can't I just see where I'm going? But a lot of times cameras have just gotten better. You just don't really think about them. Yeah. What do you think?
For sure. I would say it's probably a bell curve where 90% is intuitive, invisible. You don't even really think about it because it's not the main content of the game.
Right. Yeah.
But then there's bad cameras, which force you to think about it. And then there's really clever, amazing uses of camera angles too, which become gameplay features and things like that, which we can get into later. But, on the bad side of things, the game that comes to my mind is Resident Evil, where you're turning corners and the camera is changing and then the controls are reversing. And
that's awful. Yeah. I've actually played Resident Evil 1. But it's a minefield.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost I don't know, CCTV. It's playing through a assortment of security cameras or something.
Yeah. Has that been a game? I'm sure that has been. But that's that would actually be pretty cool to have and this is the explainer for why the camera is this way, is because you're running in and out of security cameras.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing too that I think is sort of a nice trend, and I guess this could maybe go on the good side of things, but I think cinematic modes have been really, really interesting. I think Rockstar does it really well. Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption. You can just with a button press, it's okay, this looks like a movie right now, and it's not very practical. It's hard to drive, but it looks really cool.
But this is really nice. Yeah, it's those third person cameras. that's often like when you're talking about that bell curve, that's the ones where the most can go wrong. But I feel like those are also the ones where it's like it can be the most beautiful, the most cinematic,
Mhm.
because you're not, no one really makes a movie in first person perspective,
Right.
but you can make it look like a movie and make it kind of these dramatic camera angles. I
Mhm.
played like would do that with Breath of the Wild, where like I just have to run across this field. I'll kind of just in the meantime angle the camera in a nice way so it
Totally.
looks nice. Like get this slow pan as he's jogging across.
Yeah. So
Uh,
thank goodness for like auto steering horses and things like that, where you can
yes,
kind of sit
exactly.
back and really take it in. I mean, that's what a good
Yeah,
cinematic camera does.
yeah. Like we made this whole world for you. Like
Mhm.
take it all in.
Mhm.
Um, well, how else do you feel like different camera angles really shape your expectations of a game?
I mean, I feel like once the 3D perspective was invented and third person
Mm-hmm.
really caught on, like it just feels like every AAA game kind of goes for that over the
Right.
shoulder type camera. So games that can have really great production value, or games that are not just the you know the run of the mill third person camera, like
Right.
that that really yeah, I don't know, I love different uses of perspective, I guess.
Yeah. I have been thinking about it of like the different, depending on what the camera angle is, kind of tells you what the game's budget was.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like that's a little unfair, but it is just if a game is not like a 3D first person or a 3D third person game or over the shoulder, where if it's a top down game, like this is a single A or a double A or an indie title,
Mm-hmm.
and that's maybe a little unfair because we do love these little small games, but or even like that's a whole topic point around like Metroid Dread being $60 or Donkey Kong Country being $60 of
Right.
like this is a side scroller game. This is not a real video game. It's like I
Mhm.
mean, it's just still a phenomenal, well designed video game. It's
I think
just what does
Metroid
it
Dread is
matter?
underpriced, if you ask me.
Yes, true. The longer it goes, the more I've come to appreciate that game. That game's
I
awesome.
would pay $100 for that game.
Wow. Oh man, that's high praise.
I can say something else about Metroid real quick.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, great series that has just absolutely mastered the first person, but before that was like one of the best side scrollers to ever do it. So,
Right.
I mean, dominating both perspectives is incredible, but uh, something that really sticks with me, even though I've never completed this game, is Metroid Other M's use of the camera.
Yes.
Because it's
Yeah.
not as simple as, because a lot of games will let you switch from first to third, and it's almost just like a
Right.
preference thing. Like, would you rather play in first? But it was like a gameplay mechanic, and especially the
Yeah.
act of turning the remote at the TV to trigger the first person. I thought it was well done,
Yeah.
but I haven't beaten that game yet.
Sure. I played that game in like middle school or early high school before I had taste. So I think I remember playing that like I have fond memories of playing it. But I haven't tried it ever since. I'm sure that does not hold up as well. But I remember that being like a really cool idea,
Mhm.
a cool concept. There was like parts where you had to scan something and that I would just get stuck there because like you have to scan this one specific thing that's really hard to see.
Yeah.
Um, but that was a really cool way to approach it.
Hmm. Yeah. So there's not enough Metroid games in the world, and if I can't even beat the ones that exist, then I got some work to do. I need to get back into
Oh,
it.
it's fine. I mean, you might not be missing much with other M, but what are some other like examples of unique camera, like uses of the camera? I guess you're talking about other M, kind of using the theoretical best of both worlds, but like, yeah, what other things come to mind?
That Paper Mario game. Gosh, I know. Do you know which one I'm talking about? The one where you could change the camera perspective.
Oh, yeah, Super Paper Mario,
Yeah.
also on Wii.
Yes.
Yeah,
They got some great ideas.
man, I had to do some weird stuff.
But yeah, I thought that was incredible.
Yeah.
The things it revealed by moving the camera, like that's really cool.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh man, that was like you find secret passageways and stuff, and just yeah. That's a great twist. Yeah, it's a great twist on it. Yeah. um, yeah, I was trying to think of I've been thinking about. I have not played Indiana Jones yet. I really want to, but I remember when they revealed that was going to be first person. That being just kind of like, why would you do that? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what, you want to see the cool hat. You want to see Indiana Jones do his thing. But I think it's also that was just a really people obviously have praised it for this of like it's more immersive. It's more
Mm-hmm.
of evoking like this first person puzzle game aspect where it's like you are the archaeologist kind of figuring out these ancient puzzles and turning all the knobs and whatnot. It's got more of that even like point and click puzzle vibe as being first person. Um, yeah, what else? Anything else come to mind on
Yeah, I don't know what you're
some nice
describing
ones?
just now reminded me of like The Witness, that game. I played a little bit of
Yeah,
that, which was
yeah,
first person puzzle solving, so that's kind of
yeah.
similar. Uh, and I as you were talking about not being able to control Indiana Jones and do stunts, I guess, like
Right.
you wouldn't really want to play a Spider-Man game in first person.
Oh gosh,
You
yeah.
know what I
That would
mean?
be
Like
yeah.
I think Mirror's Edge, that game that came out a while ago,
Yes.
like that was a good use of first person for a game that like most people would
Yeah.
probably think should be third person,
Right. Yeah.
a
I
parkour
did
game.
really enjoy that. Yeah. I did like that one. I guess you've dabbled in VR a little bit. What do you think there? Is that's always first person? Is there anything that's not first person in VR? Is
Astro
it?
Bot on VR
Oh,
is third
yeah.
person.
I gotcha.
And
Yeah.
that's a really good use too, because similar to that Mario 64 scenario we were talking about, there's times in Astrobot, I guess it's called Astrobot Rescue Mission, or is that the new one? Which one is
No, the new one is just Astro Bot, so it probably is Rescue
Rescue
Mission.
Mission or something like
I
that?
think so.
But yeah,
Yeah.
there's times where you're reminded like, oh, I'm in this too. I'm controlling
Oh, cool.
Astrobot running around, and the perspective you get of being able to look in any direction is pretty amazing. But there will be times
Yeah.
where like projectiles will hit you and crack your vision or splat
Oh,
your vision, or
that's hilarious.
you'll need to like look around things or duck under things. And
Man.
yeah, it's just kind of a really cool experience where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not just this disembodied perspective. It's like I have some kind of physicality that's interacting with the environment, which is pretty unique.
Yeah. Interesting. I feel like more games should kind of incorporate VR or not should incorporate like how does the camera is the camera a character even in a sense that'd be fascinating to kind of get people thinking through that.
Yeah,
I,
yeah. Man, I wonder if there's some good examples of that. I can't think of any off the top
I
of my
mean,
head.
going all the way back to Lakido, I'm trying to think of other things beyond that too, but
Yeah.
like Astrobot's a great one to
And
talk through.
I mean,
Yeah.
just another point about VR too is like it just takes the first person view to the next level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially having motion controllers where you like it just the level of immersion that comes with VR just takes first person games to a whole new level. And then
Yeah.
for third person games, yeah, it's different, but it's immersive as well. The environment immerses you, but you're still kind of honing in on your little third person character running around,
Sure.
whether it's
Yeah.
Astrobot or what was the other one?
Or is that mouse game?
Yeah,
Yeah, Moss.
That's a good one.
Man, I haven't done any VR stuff. I played a friend let me play some of his. We did some Beat Saber.
Yeah.
So I've done that a little bit, but not just Beat Saber. It's good. It's cool.
Yep.
I do have I've been thinking about how would you do a second person camera, which is like a very silly thing to think about. But here's my game pitch.
Okay.
Which I have no capability of my own to make this, so it's a free idea. I'm sure someone has done this too. But have it be like you can only play online co-op and you need two people, but you are each other's camera. So it's like a 3D platformer, but your camera is dependent on where the other person is looking. Which sound like just make it like a 3D platformer puzzle where it's like fairly simple because that's super like complicated and you're like yelling at each other to like look the other way and you have to reorient yourself of like if I go left, will I go left or I'll go right, or am I mirrored, or am I looking behind someone?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like the blind leading the blind or something. I don't know.
Yes. There you go.
Interesting.
So I'd love to see someone try that out, but I should have looked first. Someone actually did that.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Make it. All right. Well, our time is short here, Matt. But before we go, you got to pick one. What is your single favorite camera perspective in video games? He's thinking.
Huh. I would say, I mean, I've really become a fan of. It's like it's not perfectly top down. Is that considered isometric when it's sort of that 45-degree, whatever tunic is? That's my favorite camera angle in video games.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, that says isometric. It kind of depends of is the plane squared and like perpendicular to you, or is it slightly twisted, where it's like Tunic or Hades, where it's at a diagonal.
Yeah,
but that's isometric.
Yeah,
like you're looking down at a game board.
I love it.
Nice, that's a good one. I like my head says just the 3D action and adventure, but I think my heart says side scroller. That's my bread and butter.
Well, and it's like I never want it to go away, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm very happy it still exists, and I guess we're getting Silksong this year, right?
Right, should be. Supposedly. So,
yeah, alive and well.
Good stuff. Yeah, and the older I get, the more I appreciate Metroidvanias. That they do the greatest games ever made.
Same. I agree. It's like maybe they were too hard for me when I was younger, but yeah, they're masterpieces.
Good stuff. Well, Matt, one final piece we gotta do here. One name, one game. What are you playing?
What am I playing? Oh, I'm playing Citizen Sleeper 2.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I've listened to podcasts about it. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's like a sci-fi novel that you read and play a little bit.
Nice. Well, I'm probably at this point, I'm hoping to finish up some Tales of Kenzera, Zao. Tales of Kenzera, Zao. That's a Metroidvania.
Okay.
So there you go. Well, thank you, Matt, again for joining me. Where else are you out on the internet?
I'm out in real life. Come say hi.
There you go. You freed yourself.
Yeah.
You have reached enlightenment.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you all for listening in. You can follow us on the major podcasting services or on YouTube. You can press all the good buttons if you enjoyed the conversation. You also find us on the proper socials at Quick Play Pod and let us know what is your favorite camera perspective in video games. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.